Hello everyone, my name is Professor Dr. Muhammad Tajuddin, and in today's video I would like to give my opinion as to the explanation perhaps from my perspective with regard to the issue of the Ministry of Education hosting the Taliban delegation from Afghanistan to Malaysia. Now, it is quite a surprise to me that this has become an issue by certain politicians who wants clarification. Firstly, because it is thought that the Taliban is a very primitive and also an unfair people, especially with regard to women, and that we have no diplomatic relations, as far as I understand it from the statement. That why is that we are entertaining the visit from this country. Now, I would like to offer four opinions or four issues with regard to this incident, and I hope that Malaysians can have a wider perspective of how Islam is in Malaysia, as well as what it means to be Muslims in relation to other Muslims in other countries. Now, first and foremost, we need to understand not only that Malaysia is a Muslim majority country, but it also has in the constitution that Islam is the official religion of the nation. Not only that, we have seen how far the aspects of Islam have permeated through the Malay society, as can be seen from the strengthening of Parti Islam Malaysia to become the largest political party in parliament. We can also see the rise of madrasah, we can see all sorts of Islamic-based schools, and we can see the issues of Islam creeping up or coming up again and again and again. So there is no surprise that Islam is at the forefront of Malaysia's social and political life. Now, with that said, one aspect of Islam that many non-Muslim perhaps need to understand, that between Muslims, it is understood that there must be a strong Islamic brotherhood. Now, if one were to look at what Siddiq Fadzil has written about the fraternity of humanity, Islam has also the idea of the human brotherhood, or in his writing, the brotherhood of nations in terms of being citizens. But the most important thing to most Muslims is the Muslim Brotherhood, meaning the strong ties between all Muslims. That is why in any certain issue like the Palestinian issue, all Muslims will come together. You can see in the political parties, they will come together, and this forms the unifying force in Islam. So with Afghanistan, even though we may not agree with the manner in which they have treated women, as well as other policies, but that does not mean that the understanding about Muslim Brotherhood is foregone. So when there is a requirement or there is a need for a Muslim country to visit another Muslim country like Malaysia, then of course the invitation need to be extended. It would be considered a sin if one were to reject this aspect of Muslim Brotherhood. The second thing is about the idea of accepting guests. In Islam, it is required that we entertain guests very, very cordially and very courteously. And this is not only something of good manners, but it is something that is obligatory to Muslim. So we can see that the Palestinians who have come here to be in hospitals, as well as to be housed in our safety, then that is also the idea of accepting and treating guests. The Prophet Muhammad said guests must be treated for 3 days, and any more than that it can be considered sedekah or charity. So the idea here is that for 3 days it's an obligatory thing. If it is being rejected, then it can be considered a sin. But if it is accepted, then it is considered part and parcel of the responsibility of the Muslim, like prayers and fasting. These are all responsibilities, and treating guests nicely is that responsibility also. Now, beyond the 3 days, then it is considered sedekah, which is a higher level of reward and blessing from Allah. So these are the two aspects of Islam that perhaps many non-Muslim are yet to understand, and I have just explained the situation. Now, the third point I want to make is that if we read the statement by the Taliban, they have said that they will open the doors to the education of women, because the Prophet Muhammad had said, if your women ask to go to the mosque, do not forbid them. Meaning that he has given some kind of signal about emphasis of education, more specifically to male, but at that time of the Prophet Muhammad, then it is considered also that females can also get education. Unfortunately, some cultures treat this as the idea that women are secondary to men in terms of education as well as social political work. We've seen Saudi Arabia one time not even allowing women to drive cars, but now you can see that they have changed. So Islam is very flexible in the sense of its interpretation by cultures. We need to be very patient with the Taliban. They may be holding certain views, but now they are the government, therefore they will probably change their cultural perspective with regards to women in due time. All this will take time. A lot of people are very impatient to change or to have all into their own way of thinking. So I believe that the Taliban will provide education to the women. It is just that number one, it is a cultural issue that needs to be overcome, and number two, it is a safety issue. Afghanistan is not really a safe country in terms of tribal relationships, and they are not like us, and we shouldn't be making judgments upon judgments on a country that we hardly know. We cannot use our own values and also our own contextual situation to say, they are backward country, they are primitive, they are this and they are that. Again, I am one of those who do not agree with the Taliban for destroying some of the archaeological artifacts, but that is how they understand religion at this particular moment in time. And I am sure when their new leaders, young leaders are more educated, they have money to send them overseas to understand art and archaeology and all that, then they will change. That is, we can look at some of the examples in our own country with regard to this aspect. We can also see the UAE progressing. We can also see the Saudi Arabian people now under the Prince Salman to actually usher in an era of change. So I think we need to be wider in our acceptance of their promise of change, and therefore I think it's not an issue for them to be hosted in this country. Now, my final perception is simply that it's good that they have come here, and that they can see the minister is a woman, and that most, I think, easily 70% of our teaching staff is women in terms of whether they are in school, and perhaps in the universities it's a bit more balanced. But certainly in schools, as my wife was once a teacher, women outweigh men, I think, 2 to 1 in terms of their presence. So the context of how women is being educated can be seen here, and also this opens opportunity for us to help them with the change by offering some perhaps online courses to their women folk in terms of giving them this assistance, because as I said, the safety issue in the country is a real issue. This is something which all of us, if we are not there, need to understand, and this is an aspect of which we as a country, Malaysia, the Muslims of course will definitely render help. I myself will volunteer if they require me to teach, whether they will pay or not. It would consider an Islamic duty. So this is how Muslims relate to other Muslims. Now, many non-Muslims do not understand this because most of their relationship are either of commerce or of more material things. But with Muslims, it goes beyond material aspect. It is about the spirituality of brotherhood and the spirituality of helping guests, as well as the spirituality of making another party grow in terms of what we call the wakaf ilmu, meaning endowing, the endowment of knowledge for the betterment of mankind, humankind. So this is the aspect of hosting the Afghan people, and I think it's a noble thing that we have done, and I hope my explanation suffices to satisfy the others that we do not hold the same view as the Taliban, but that doesn't mean that we reject them in terms of not helping them as well as not assisting them. So with that, I would like to thank you for your time to listen to my explanation of the issue. Thank you.